Here we go at 12:05. Welcome to Central Valley Talk Live on this Wednesday. It is the 19th of January. I'm Austin Reed, coming to you from our Tower District studios inside the Mike Briggs building. We thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Rene Nunez. He was born in Fresno and in the heart of the San Joaquin Valley, raised in Reedley, where you still live today. And Rene is running for state assembly.
That's correct.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I found you on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got to get you in.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reaching out.
All right, so you left the Marines after 6.5 years and then went directly into the California National Guard.
That's correct.
So why the switch to politics?
Well, I've been in the business for 7 years. I own a small Mexican restaurant in Reedley called El Rincón Americano. And the past 2 years, it's been kind of really hectic for us small business owners. And now, especially with prices going twice as much to find from to-go boxes to the meats to anything you need, to utilities raising as well, to taxes raising, and just finding people to work has been really, really hard. And all these mandates have made it even harder for people to actually survive or live. I also have 2 kids as well, and it's been hard. It's been hard on them. I understand. From the behavioral side, it's kind of getting them out of school and not being able to socialize with their friends. Right. So it's been one of those things like we need a change now. And not only that, just the water issues. Like we've been running out of water, and there's a trend of drought and trend of having water, but we haven't figured out how to save the water. So that's one big thing that's just like many things that kind of made me run. And it's like it's time for this change and time to move forward. And hopefully we could actually do a bigger difference and bigger change.
Now, you're also on the Reedley Chamber of Commerce as a member of the Board of Directors.
Yes.
And then you work with the Reedley Area Veterans Board of Directors, the Lions Club, the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, and then the Central California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Community, is that very important to you?
It is very important. I actually sat on when my kids went to McCord, I sat on the school site council as well. I also was on the Measure C&E committee for the State Center Community College as well. That's those small things, but community itself and just understanding and be able to help people is something that I've always done. Especially I felt after my deployment to Africa to be able to help people to grow and to empower them to grow and it's just making that change and being in those organizations helped me meet a lot of interesting people. And just a variety, just from different backgrounds, different industries as well, and just hearing their complaints, hear them, hearing them like, hey, how are we going to survive next week? How are we going to get our food or anything like that? So it's like, I'll step up to the game and, hopefully I win, but if win or lose, I hope I can be that voice that we truly need.
Tell me a little bit about your work as a guardsman. You were rotated to Qatar.
Yes.
And then you were deployed for state emergencies like fire suppression, riot detail, and patrolling the state capitol in Sacramento.
Yeah.
With that experience, does that help?
I would say it does. Just because I've been to the fires 3 different times, 3 different years, 2015, 2020, and last year as well. So I went to the Porterville fire out here in 2020. And then somehow we went up to the Sauk fire up there as well in the same year, same month. And then last year I went to the Dixie fire, so one of the biggest fires we had in California. So it's just being able to work next to the individuals, seeing firsthand what's going on, being able to work the lines, being able to see the whole logistic sides of it and what is actually necessary. And that kind of brings me a different thought of ideas of actually fire suppression, wildland fire suppression, how we could prevent fires from coming into California. There's a lot of things that the state does that kind of prevents that from happening. Like I said, I'm not a big, I'm not knowledgeable on that stuff, and I want to learn more. And before I even put more facts out there, and not only that, just going to the riots and getting to see. We were stationed downtown LA in the Staples Center. Well, we didn't get to stay in the Staples Center, but in the convention center next to it. But just being around that area, I never thought in my mind I would be in my own country, walking around with my weapon. And just patrolling LA, patrolling the Capitol for the inauguration, it is something that I just never thought of my whole life. And I'm like wondering, when I was there, how did we get there? How did we honestly get here to this position? that we need to activate so many individuals to prevent stuff from happening or going, going crazy.
Yeah, who knows,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The world is just, it's a different place. Tell me a little bit about the 3 issues that are most important to you. Number 1, tax and regulations.
Yes.
2 is water.
Yes.
And then 3 is the Second Amendment. So let's begin with taxes and regulations.
Taxes, we get taxed for everything. We have a $33 billion surplus this past year, and the year before that we had a $75 billion surplus. So I'm wondering, are we getting taxed so much that they're making too much money, and then they're trying to figure out how to spend that money instead of trying to let us keep it more? And we're getting taxed as a small business. We're getting taxed on things we're already taxed on. So if I buy equipment, I have to pay taxes every year on that, and then I have to work, pay the employee taxes, the employer taxes, just tax for everything. So kind of mitigating, regulating, stuff like that. That's like there's somewhere I saw a quote saying, why is the government trying to raise taxes and always worried about raising taxes? Why is it not worried about spending less money so they don't have to worry about raising so much taxes? And so that comes back to regulation. Smaller government equals less taxes and less regulation, less mandates. As coming as a business, it's hard maintaining a restaurant. We have to have so many regulations. I mean, it's great. I understand it. We got to make sure that the food and nobody gets sick, everybody's safe, and especially there's a lot. But there's some stuff that I'm like, why am I paying taxes if I'm paying more? I have to pay licensing fee. I have to pay for these permissions. So what's the whole point of paying all these taxes? So that's one thing I want to mitigate and hopefully reduce on the mandates and the red tape and be able to process and move forward from that. And it's not just the restaurant. I understand the restaurant industry, but every single industry that's out there, there's some kind of regulation, some kind of fee, some kind of tax, and it's like, why? Why so much? But the government is big. And that's where we need to lower, have less government. Smaller government is always better.
Water, obviously, a huge issue.
Yeah, I grew up in the farm industry. My dad was a farm labor contractor. He, started from the field work and picking fruit. I picked fruit myself. I worked a lot with haram farming and then with my family as well, picking fruit. But even now, looking at it with the restaurant industry, we live in really a small community that actually, thrives on agriculture. The whole Central Valley thrives on agriculture. If we don't have the water that's necessary, how are we going to be able to produce? How are we going to be able to grow economically? How are we going to be able to feed the world? If we're one of the largest suppliers of world food, how are we going to be able to feed them? So if we don't have water, we don't have jobs, we can't eat, we can't work, we can't do much, and especially nice water. Like one big thing I started hearing was Kettleman City. Kettleman City is running out of water. They started doing a lot of things, but to be in this country and hear that one town that can't get water and they're struggling or they're about to run out, it's appalling to me. Yeah. I mean, I was in a small country in Africa where I always figure out like we would get bottled water and these kids would just ask for empty bottled waters. And so finally asking like, hey, why do they need bottled waters? So I asked our interpreter. It's like, well, it's because they go to the lake and pick up water bottles or get water. They don't have no running water. They have no heater. They have no AC. And to hear that somewhere here in the United States, this is the United States, this is California, and they're running out of water, it's appalling. We have to prevent that stuff from happening. So it's one of those things that we cherish, and then when it gets taken away, we start getting scared. But we need to prevent that from happening when there's plenty of water out there that could come to the Central Valley. Last
but not least, Second Amendment.
Second Amendment, it's a big thing. As a veteran, I believe in my Second Amendment rights. Not even that, as when I was in Marines, I was a weapons instructor. I do believe in teaching, educating, and training individuals to hold properly a weapon because that's a big deterrent for anything that's useless. But it's one of those things that I truly believe in. You're right to carry a weapon. I mean, I hope that you're trained and you're proficient and efficient and you're smart enough and mature enough to carry a weapon. When I joined the Marines, I wasn't like, hey, here's a weapon, have fun at it. You spend day and night with the weapon. You train with it, you learn it, you have all these, preventative stuff from going it, and you become proficient. And I don't expect everybody to shoot as much as a Marine, but that's one thing I'm hoping that we could change. Like, hey, here's a weapon, but you got to learn how to use it first. But I still understand why, if I already have a weapon, we have to wait 10 more days to get another one. So if you already have all the background and all that stuff, especially the CCWs, they go through, intensive background and to ensure that they have the maturity, the level, and the commitment to carry a weapon. So that's one thing I will continue fighting for, our Second Amendment rights.
So when is the election?
So we have one election in June, I believe it's June 7th, and then the top two will go up to the November election.
To the November election.
Yes.
Perfect. We've got about a minute left. Anything else you wanted to touch on? Anything I missed?
Just the education system. I want to make sure our kids are actually taught right, learn. They're the future of America, and we can't slack on that. We have to invest properly in them and make sure they grow. They grow, and they're going to take over the country one day, so we have to make sure they're right. And also, I want to be the beacon of hope for people. I want to be able to motivate them, to inspire them, and to empower them. Not to just grow in themselves, but to grow for the community. Hopefully, have more people running in politics. That way the government can see, like, hey, we the people are tired of you guys. We need to make that change. And I want to empower, I want to inspire people and to motivate them to actually go down that road, or even do more work in the community to help each other, support each other, and to just unite everybody at the same time.
Support Rene at his restaurant. Where's the restaurant?
It's in Reedy. It's
Okay.
1514 East Manning Avenue.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
I'll have to check it out.
yeah, it's great food. Yeah.
Home style Mexican?
Yes.
All
And
right.
we have some pupusas. One of the best dishes that we sell, pupusas. It's
Really?
a Salvadorian dish, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if I didn't work out, I could tell you off. Yeah, it's. I think that's why I still stay in the National Guard, to keep me focused.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Hey, I gotta work out.
Right. I know. Keep that,
Yeah,
keep that
so-
body up. Rene, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
You can learn more, of course, at NunezForAssembly.com.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank you.
luck.
Thank you very much.
All right. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Central Valley Talk. Thanks for joining us.